Today I'm replacing this intake tube on the 2007 Honda Odyssey. As you can see, it was kind of cracked up here and I hillbillied it with some black RTV probably a year or two ago. But you can see here we're starting to get some cracks. And you don't want to be sucking in dirt and crap, so I'm going to replace that. It looks pretty straightforward. Hopefully we don't have to remove the air box. I'm just going to remove this 10mm and this 10mm on these hose clamps. And remove this tube and unplug this sensor. All we should need, hopefully, 10mm socket, wrench, whatever you got to do to get those clamps loose, and pliers. And then this is the Honda part number. Okay, I'm going to start by removing this connector. Push down, pull, sometimes just wiggle back and forth. And then that's fed through here. Just leave that aside. I'm going to try to get this tube out of here. Squeeze the clamp. Pull the tube. There we go. We're going to need to save this clamp. And then zip this guy off. This one. Both clamps are loose, really loose. Got them backed away. Now I'm just going to try to push. Sometimes twisting will break the seal. And then just try to get it off of there. Pull on this side. Just try to compress this. There we have it. Save your clamps. Just a quick note on here, this really only goes one way. There's a tab here, which lines up with this aluminum tab on this throttle body. So that way you know it's in the right orientation. There's also an arrow here, but as long as this lines up, that should line up. Okay, put my old clamps on this guy. Make sure that you face them the same way they came off so that you can access that screw later in life or when you need to tighten it right now. So hopefully this will just compress. Try to just slide it on the back first. I have to work your fingers underneath there to make sure that it seats. So start down there and just work it around. And then this side, make sure that you're seated, and this tab is not lined up yet, so we're just gonna keep twisting it till that lines up. Looks good, looks like everything's seated nicely here too. There's also a notch back here on this one. And just slide your clamps on. Make sure that it gets seated. This one's not, so I'm gonna cut and then readjust that and we'll be back. Okay, all I had to do is back this clamp off a little bit so that it would go over the lip. Now it's fully in its groove. This is seated tightly. I'm gonna snug it down. Don't have to go crazy. This one's fully seated, everything looks good. Snug that down, and then you can fish your harness, clip it back into here, and underneath here. Plug that in, hear the click. And we still have this hose. So you can compress this clamp, stick that on there, and then just push the hose, compress the clamp, and push it till it's seated. On here, I don't know if you can see this, but it was dirty up until where it was seated last, so it's pretty obvious how far it goes in. And that pretty much concludes it. It's a pretty simple job. It's cheap insurance. You don't want to be sucking in dirt. I actually was looking at this thing, and if you look you can see that crack. And I'm not sure if that's going through yet. Yeah. So you can see light through there. So that was sucking in dirt. So that's awesome. You don't want to be sucking in dirt. But there you have it.